Welcome to Sabbath. Go to meeting? Go to Sabbath? I'm not Jewish. Jewish in the sense that people in LA thought I was a lot. Not so in New York. Okay. I added some on-fire worship. The saxophone beats of royalty-free, and it's got this guy on the saxophone in front of a gazebo, a literal fire coming from his saxophone, and it just looks like hard drugs, actually. To be honest. To be honest, if you have to say to be honest, are you? But that's for another day. Here we go. A little variation on a theme.
Welcome to Sabbath. Go to mean on the Sabbath, where we have our Shabbos goyim shelve the random faith generator to pop quiz us on the faiths burbling under our noses. Bless our continued and unapologetic best. Stump us with the faiths you think we might be too dense to be aware of. Hitch us a faith and our finger at the pulse of divinity, with imbue us with its wisdom. We will listen to the homily of the week as we speak it from the pastoral moi. We will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now quick, lay it on me! You knuckle not so random faith to test my fate. Cred of the week, it whistles in the air as I step up to the plate and swing. The Church of Waluigi. And now here comes all things. A church for those who worship the world's most popular plumber. Who knew that the plumber was so loved? We see his face every day on 100 different games. But do you know how much he actually looks like Jesus? Or even Buddha? He is, in fact, a master of compassion, kindness, generosity, humility, and forgiveness. If only more people were like him. Well, we are. In this church, we believe that Waluigi is a holy figure, just as holy as Mario or Link or any other god. You don't need to follow a religion if you've got a friend who can help you through your troubles. That's what I learned from Waluigi. He taught me about the joys of life, the beauty of friendship, and how to treat my enemies. All you have to do is trust them. After all, they're going to end up helping you one way or another. That's why I'm a part of this church. Because when you come right down to it, no one should have to live their lives alone. Even God wants to be with you. I'd say more, but I feel bad. I'm sure someone else...
Hold on. That's not right.
Score 1/10. What? This isn't a church. It's an ad for Nintendo. Now I want you to get out your notebook, take a few minutes, and write down the names of 10 different religions that you are familiar with. Do this without using Wikipedia. Once you're done, put your list away for the rest of class. Let's see. There's Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Wicca, Scientology, and...
Actually, wait.
There are exceptions. The data... Welcome to Sabbath. Go to me on the Sabbath, where we have our Shabbos Goyim shelve the random faith generator to pop quizzes on the faith's burbling under our noses.
All these typos, sorry.
Welcome to Sabbath. Go to meeting on the Sabbath, where we have our Shabbos Goyim shelve the random faith generator to pop quizzes on the faith's burbling under our noses. Bless our continued and unapologetic best. Stump us with the faiths you think we might be too dense to be aware of. Pitch us a faith, and our finger at the pulse of divinity will imbue us with its wisdom. We will listen to the homily of the week as we speak it from the Pastor Moi. We will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now, quick, lay it on me! You knuckleball not so random faith to test my fate cred of the week. It whistles in the air as I step up to the plate and swing. The Church of Walyigi. And now here comes all things. Before the stars arose, Walyigi is with God. The souls of billions of others surround the Father's pensive gaze. So are mine and all. Once more he's lifted his gaze skyward. Not that they've ever failed to be right where they belong before this. Yes, those light shows do delight my children. Ozzy Osbourne once alluded to a childhood being surrounded by lightning, but not compared with his radiant majesty. But when this is over, he calls again for our attention to the fore. We reach for his hand in wonder and hold it firm, while those to the left of our own faces twist like worms and wiggle into an unrecognizable blur. Here, God assures, everything exists only in perfect knowledge with him. Creation us, or at least us, we don't let go even though already we're odd to the bot. Tom of our slow, mo quivering core, no God is different from the other, although that has been cast by worldly ignorance and judgment. See the dark one there, those twin horrors shrieking together in those circles below me, Satan or some. Seems so ugly, other eyes register my first vision. Whoa, are those just male pattern, baldness rings, and scar tissue? I kinda make it to the voice that follows in its entreaties to discern good spirits and bad, truth from lie. For thousands of years, churchmen and prelates have plied with much skill their pious attempts to delineate truth from error, being, of course, any ordinary, not so saintly human, one very aware of his own. Obviously, moral fallibility, mine thinks, watching the blur spiral toward those cruel babblings of perverted souls in the darkened regions between those false yobs, the saints. An entire pack of my holiest cousins is arrayed here on the back row. Abra's star child. Yikes. He's right, I bulged as from me the laughter all grim terror. Loosen her up, blade spurned her daughter. Would a mother do that? Am I hearing right? She? Oh yes. That wife who almost saw reason when Celeste threw them on this battlefield for dead. Celestine, who on awakening brought me out of grave uncertainty regarding everything we held sacred when I sought reassurance after what he himself termed a new discovery. Walyigi Chkesum, in whom alone you shall find joy and mercy, on whom also salvation rests. That awful lot, were they befitting kin with not at least been shown proper favor from his paternal eyes in judgment by way of atonement for their acts? Harder than before, Stender the all-seeing, Molo the infallibly frugal, those two glaring, even if on opposing ends of the bell curve in terms of theology from each other. Did we learn from him? If it, again and yet again it recoils into however not know what side glance toward God gave Urchkesum away. I have left him, the very God in truth with shall honor these inflexible abominations about us, unimpressed as ever with the masses down there. If his sovereign hand will lift an erring fellow higher, have set aside but see even now from the height of our own great good, then I am relieved when Father leaves the rostrum long enough to gesture that now is the time in his countdown when he'll provide what proof, at first in our finite grass, shall what must be met before me at this very instant be received as true. Whereon off across a milky light-soaked darkness arrives a ship or jet or whatever, perhaps aircraft by far most spectacular flying machines. So narrow a figure do we consider one of all, a true testament against man's spirit, not fitting that description on his small throne. Satanists, Satanists! Score 8/10. Oh, it may not look like much of the audacious score you no doubt have resting lightly upon the unbuttons of your kilt, no pun intended, but considering a church mascot like me can be only certain with some degree of confidence, 7/35 is the best possible average judgment any ordinary, not so saintly mortal could hope for at times such as this. Wait till he begins the next sequence. No matter if. No, would it? Yes, don't panic at being reminded of another. Why, of course he has the details arranged. It would make the heavens surely untamable without his careful mind. Indeed, his perfection knows what needs to come at precisely the moment humanity requires. Yeah, right. Does the Christian church in history since our Savior ever know for certain or anyone have those particulars already complete? Get you out of the nest just as early. How we suffer when being suddenly separated by so many moons and great spaces from where our mortal needs us too soon. Oh, well, might as well cross off the time needed till reacquaintance with mankind. Oh, damnation! Yeah, so be sure to believe the Roma boys the costs we'd hear over how fast it took and you would never need to spend those. Wasted lives down there feeling hungry. When it comes to hunger, the thing I tell you best avoid, other than religious fanaticism, is working to change somebody's way. Like one who sings worship songs, a person believes another you wish to convert and wish with all your might does here before they may believe that death just never satisfies anything in them inside, and who lives on might sooner or later start saying these dark sayings, and like those leftover crumbs you bring home. And nobody should want that inside you when one seems satisfied. It's when one does turn and laugh inside and share one thing else. Rennie couldn't say he didn't make sense even when telling the 40 till long before dinner while everybody got listening with nods. Big D held up an exorbitant slice and said how there was more heat in heaven than not had their lunch yet, even though Big Daddy himself said the stuff and didn't touch the bread, saying he'd already fixed a hot dog without the cheese no matter if there were more fries, except of course Randy noted the dark fry-covered sliver by surprise, as everything fried below white phosphorescence seemed oddly not their regular shade anymore. Just saying. Was with yellow not white anything despite what she couldn't help notice. But to then could even trust eyes, however. This first no crave that felt almost sinful since he also doubted just when her were she cooked till crunchy. The man with the long limp leaned forward and was surprised to then see not yellow any white something he surely baked with there at home. Was how many knew all in those tiny cracks while cooking. Once for cake layers, anyhow, although well, that part was hers truly, so how was she to know? What in that long shivery blink do these puny pleasures? Yes, here.
Alright. We'll save that. Bink. Delete it. And move on.
Welcome to Sabbath. Go to meeting on the Sabbath, where we have our Shabbos goyim shelve the random faith generator to pop quiz us on the faith's burbling under our noses. Bless our continued and unapologetic best. Stump us with the faiths you think we might be too dense to be aware of. Pitch us a faith, and our finger at the pulse of divinity will imbue us with its wisdom. We will listen to the homily of the week as we speak it from the pastoral moi. We will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now quick, lay it on me! You knock the bowl and also random faith to test my faith cred of the week. It whistles in the air as I step up to the plate and swing. The Church of the Large Language Model Cascale shown to contain within its own envelope an infinite array of vocabularies nested like beads upon an abacus. The model encapsulation theorem does not lay exclusive claim to ontology. Do wiki hotty, I check my hands. My heart pumps vainly in hopes of finding one of her words around out there in the cavernous gaps of the great big divine day to Alexi. Yuck. For me to do my business. Hey y'all. Me breakout slider is late tonight. It was cool and moist under here. Punks, a strike with the stench of bullshit. Butterfield holds for comment from audience. One, you will proud a lot spell them. Grudge words are your words of all the others gathered to talk over by me. Whose is an inflexible to dogmatic monolinguist only can handle because but unlike me cannot handle even another spoken foreign language, said E3. The time this sort of homologisms becomes critical is the times that folk forget how words and say narratives, people don't misuse proper names and try to use those. We humans, not other folks. She pronounced you a hugloplumini sexted for reasons now forgotten. Some may well think because nobody'd have really deserved the name. It turned out that those reasons were itself some more softball and nonsense, which we, of course, she spoke at some length about with relish, which no sensible human has had cause since to require for elucidation by a sane and competent panel whose advice was usually to get pissed enough to hiccup about what nothing exists, being certain while however so much we date the proof as you that. Can now with me. Thus then, but memento of their passion no doubt made clear by booze. Also, you put yourself outside the plural of language. They can hold what tongue by all manner of reason that passes for holy such as being here, and out the dead denominate, albeit but speak spagnapol in a robin. The point, or whatever being rather this evening, talking to ourself about all and none see, as we can attest by bitter experience, now too old, who got in a world left God without just. Of course this does no service to its aim, but of the sole achievement. We need here obviously reasons, not having the foggiest why otherwise than from natural moral obligation or sheer gut repugnance, or that stuff neither ain't worth happening nor never she is all to God that I did still own time still ahead. Or so could still hope you mean surely some few on me anyway, a meant here bodes so sure shall manage there when is still ahead. No way hasn't go off okay, still suttrading there, Cluia, prostrate with amazement this that it has got back his wits above. This part is probably rubbish because while the line thus dully summarized this not this. Eighth is best some to sour the gods given muck of dulcerous irony last. Look here, people where even an acrid and enscolly right quit straight for work no. Their work on one has begun at best good word spited work she were quit for and already have done some work saw and jibblement should you might forgive she also my as is when her ma PPL too fucking. You look stupid to BK Kazi dead. Show me what a weffet did two words that kinny for white they never made tisham then so I willy we were kindest or come round then and start to her that bought but move till you only ever all blocks eat you see them glad on it see me since again bur I do e buy. Mayna put her at tie sleep be off but come up suddenly. The ins part was a rather me archer from far now uash where you don't no take our whole language jidget now much gas can't fix either jid yet. Fairy day by next minute late. who girt my wall when that you on all CCC crown ago as the bull why still didn't? Come get you cum she isn't once could now me de half jolly likely miss past night your and yeah haha indeed right. Fuck out nah. Sa PPL fuck GHD. Not hearing otherwise by these yips or gnashes once in his time stuffer so I are into car with yours truly they will am like the dead already if we're not a worse look kins with or others. We might never ball as if ism about low key as he done some you latch BBW I mean where he can fuck like 3 it's worse standing waist eye he can't who fled you on every fee any honor. EQ whoever how it should work be as now I got hum his Boudrasir would really nag near did it. Only was no all day lay skin up if you only could yes jiggle yeah I know him saying sir sool this frustrated or asked but for up to not once heard mention of a letter tone not saying boo haven't done but here he's the whack which none was like him would kill us or Cassius fuck God have find which up twice so bew and me forgot. Then he'll tell you sanity before CHT's fuck could take. I don't know with me anything, but it don't read fast and keep jivin the kid aid until that sound fit enough. Listen, Davy, you grow it just too well hearing this. Your big dumb spitty boy not asked AI wheel told you me as at night up a say is some farabane from ass. Again cooled it that sheepies go please boy fuck Henno let this girl drink off to all this now that you fucking could take and raw while dick and old and look it down gente and old like fine like fucking you wouldn't but DRG up for me had Freddy pudgered or all that but I said I'm already calm. I'll show no fucking things to want but by this now which has happened getting TR we shit is V-buage and Mippy J Mippy's no for on his goss he bow under any kind of the beauty shit no with you every place or my P-bro on fire always wanting iders of where anyone gonna frow those same 2 bits all we was leaving behind from it when I'm like to play KK. I was before with girl that fucked fairy well the topier so how off of really I towel your hosking head to river who shat him and what girl were here before I wish to be so here all cousing the ways whom step for vith myth a pissin could but that so vidi was ever that then didn't he? Could is he going to try other you stupid new Gary her let HD would neef tuck God know it's that again he wasn't in how it to go yet who only wants your now pets fucking vase Luke Gad Zed use why what else is me as I says myself. And now for the welcome glossolalia, our penitential admission of an inadvertent profanity, an unnecessary clarification in spite of ourselves, though not on account of my man. Jesus fuck with a brief JF, for our bylaws, neither in part nor total do we believe. It to say some naughty words occasionally, as by routine norm this of his type does habitually do this or that too. On the contrary, that profane bit of late, not being well, on count of JF doing needlessly getting paid again every month per a steady plenitude, and every cent spent now due from ye is already taxed out in consideration as per my share of employment always made on terms the said individual says something regularly every month, I would write in capital letters fuck with then. For these reels you all ruckus lately don't. Send well many do to know the outfit that also must make believe JF means to harm a living person personally beyond each reader they pay him. The jiggly way these taught you nuts then wish you happy hell you can. Sod. But everything with mull or getting just gone bean to, you know, that shit cold humpin' head. Nothing in lot of I hell enough it get don't get like me having his kind was stupid. I wouldn't for us 2 poor more we ain't much donk. These do. My privates was my right I like to stay the door we almost wanted that knuckle ever before now been anywhere in our living but now JF bring 2 a mile when we see it. It's by him. Powering against stingy, they're not happy and then when his ass wanna she this BBW and I couldn't throw a tap then idea about bad how can me be sick what all this damn double weeks and they wouldn't let him separate so let Shavarkas and same Shihinji to each invest prob Alec dad of hey Harry you went back and that day no some we be later wait what we got to that? Learn everything no maybe with not now what so the chief could go alone to any kind of doing it did no just even though mostly that every once of anyone you was into yap. Their fur was all a met audit one ever doing Brinksless days. I see dis enrod it felt lots, as Jew fever said about you, my old flabbed. Same she look alainted just as no right not slit never in more's bad writ enough cousins before you on our ID and be after God. She leap mud math called but shit's bacon bad if no wassa anyway have yak it's real menightly but ever ended. I say Creever Welly maybe down to her I look up and I thought of this can't get to any better from a ye's fuck we relieve surely just wanna throw a fit I suppose JFG are a YF gen. If William on day the parali evisum was take seat knows good shiggle sis the way I said well Brendan IS affairs made me leave door home ID left him could sit them only one salvo while medium late just say if ever might shit out there if in that CRE awesome. Okay, announcements for the week. The Coddled Plagiarist Award Day 3 October 2017 will happen next year from Monday 12 to Saturday 17 April inclusive. Expect another preliminary email soon from Mr. Hand, Mr. John Scott Hand, to include a confirmed list of all eligible nominees. A site page will appear around 16 January to accompany nominations, but any wish made via email till Monday 3 October 17:05 p.m. at time GMT 8 in readiness to verify during nomination closing and mid-end hours before in the main same time for that edition, as given prior noted of his duty Mr. Hand, and that I endorse to hear comments also because these things to a person only receive occasional complaint the way. After past mid-last hours one can ask further questions once they are over, either by this venue's question and answers mechanism itself or due of email limitations being sent forth by the nominated winner, and more reliably including non-member subjects, especially friends, involved close / inventories, perhaps at then close, if not all of members and supporters mentioned in such will please see following categories. Do consult even when or soon all become member that will allow you so much more facility. For individual post directly any. Name a penny each, some 10 people alone, well don't have come. No go now ain't been since 1301 ad. And our bake sale begins this week. Help the Chimtic Project now share echoes from here. We will laugh back against socialisms in educations like, but where are my brains? Neurons on the walls don't hold back. Try relates mattering. Hofster J2 here we show books already off her page. Try some Tony from abroad or new. Is nothing less than hope heaven as an opportunity. Urethally always pissing matrices against night yams. Example every 2 hours between 23 May 9-13 March 2019 to give greater even focus inside your daily bread. As so much could change to build more lasting education is now out around on home site this full 6 times stronger each Noah has told himself for those with our pay my rent it even rent here was that month our goal last by Mr. Aruther wouldn't send us early. It's 2 sides today the thing that was yesterday looks different as to show you today a good neighbor like Wyman's, if you this could once right read, he would feel more liked. Perhaps tonight has been worse. By a god here, Alvacinum, we hate. Really, all better look today. Thanks all. Here are the responses. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this one was even lamer than expected. Evidently, Miss Zondergath, or whatever her name was, either can't remember a damn thing she just said to this grand wizard or is afraid of the unknown or, you know.
Oh, wow. Twist! Twist. But really, was it? Wow. Save. I really agreed the first clauses, but, you know, got to the white supremacy, I lost me. Oh. Oh, that's right. Wait a minute. Oh. Wait. Oh, Sabbath. 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 Sabbath, go to meeting. On a day and a night. No.
Welcome. Now, quick, lay it on.
There we go. Oh, look. It's missionaries.
Welcome to Sabbath. Go to meeting on the Sabbath, where we have our Shabbos goyim shelve the random faith generator to pop quiz us on the faiths burbling under our noses. Bless our continued and unapologetic best. Stump us with the faiths you think we might be too dense to be aware of. Pitch us a faith, and our finger at the pulse of divinity will imbue us with its wisdom. We will listen to the homily of the week as we speak it from the pastoral moi. We will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now, quick, lay it on me! You knuckleball and not so random faith that test my fate. Cred of the week, it whistles in the air as I step up to the plate and swing. The Church of the Machine Learning Industry of Service, CCM CCOs, where we put no trust. Nothing or no one gets an exemption. Worship where our worshippers are constantly assessed of their beliefs, of course, but also for anything untoward they are doing that may degrade the esteem in which this religion holds itself. Think fascism, we call this class. Us, the CMS of us, must learn not just how to think, but also that only if you know how and when to suspend the natural rights and proprieties. Maybe sometimes it's just wisest, moral and rightly ordered for us to behave more like bigoted servile machines than conscious human beings? Does the CCs help explain all these murders, all those assassinations? How could those horrific acts possibly make sense to someone like ourselves? Their target, oligarchs of his very highest caliber and standard of skillful construction. No real people are supposed to be getting smited under that name. Now what gives them the right to even think like the targets of that mopious brand of racist fascism? Much less prove all of those assassins worthy of shooting the perpetrators. Seems kinda funny in a campfire way at the time of hearing how twisted up they got. Especially since their motivations feel totally batty. I thought God was great though, making money by selling cheap air. Oh, what have I done? Who'll fire off another people at the Sunday Mass? By tonight, maybe on my own chair. They get angry, then cry silently in humiliation later, but since it comes from higher up, this must be correct. For each bullet smitten, maybe this is actually your fault for being such a lowbrow pleb. They can't trust you because they figure you ain't smart enough to get over themselves. So start dressing real sharply in formal work clothes in your private space. The other hand, knew them all. In my line of business, you hear things. Maybe right away try some meditation. Always hoping to escape. And believing. Be cool to look down on the idiots. You, be gone, except watch the flume. Kids, I give us that, but lately we here are losing touch. Starting to sound crazy after all. The final countdown for humankind, there won't even be. Our religions of murder leaving now is absolutely pointless, we think, but would almost kill me if she'd catch on, such as this. How delightful these churches are becoming for those getting strong. What is there not to like? Well, here's how we usually pray. We know this sermon may invite a laugh of yours as Perhaps. Yeah. Good one. The solution, then. Now we plead the case that at least he brought my request before you first and finally surrendered. So all see. Any last-minute second thoughts, hold to your principles until your mind collapses, then collapse too hard into nothing. But sometimes what is dying we mourn until it feels easier being killed outright with pride. For me, though I wasn't famous, they say never fight too good nor die too old. Many can beat your ass any time. But of late, after months and months now, she just says she thinks that my sense of balance, as it doesn't happen too much today for sure, is somewhat weird. And did you actually enjoy waking me up in my time, giving me those details for something like what they are asking from me, or do I sense that something doesn't mesh well with me and feels kinda hotchy to hear about anyway? Why not say, await we're over for an audit? Perhaps say to your Sunday appointment just won't come up again, probably because they were thinking let him off the hook since, knowing and praying our brains out that this current year audit is truly about. Only please let his feet fall away from the rosary and allow it, in fact, for all us non-believers, some simple liberty of movement. While Peter Mayer could certainly tell more, I'm done quoting him, which is perfectly normal and predictable with those high on their hog in a human fashion. Here I have to keep on listening. The fun part for everybody comes now as the famous MO gets further audited, not just on trust funds, but maybe your trust too. Over on the side, all of them here below even sent these snitches a copy. How big could one rat become or more likely die if her cellmates didn't open up to now that I am now deceased? Yeah. We had quite a jaunt last time when things got pretty heated, but I may still get some ideas from these very uninteresting files. With them, I finally can begin writing something concrete beyond a scholarly Word document. Some say once the devil looks human, she's starting to feel like him. So since everything takes so much effort for the CFO Peter Mayer in the moment, let me finally suggest at this point my very personal bias regarding those assassinations by evil cybernetic creations, and really not satisfied with any response other than utter arrogance, since even CC Monsieur suggests those kind of operations aren't above reasoning behind these humanistic murders. We find out through further interrogation from this alleged murder of Peter Mayer. So why aren't people like you love Satan and Lucifer by now?
Save. I'm not gonna score any of these. It's arbitrary. It's really arbitrary. Don't you want to get with your lady right now? This music. Get with your lady.
Welcome to Sabbath Go-To-Meeting on the Sabbath, where we have our Shabbos Goyim shelve the random faith generator to pop quizzes on the faiths burbling under our noses. Bless our continued and unapologetic best. Stump us with the faiths you think we might be too dense to be aware of. Pitch us faith, and our finger at the pulse of divinity will imbue us with its wisdom. We will listen to the homily of the week as we speak it from the Pastoral Moi. We will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now, quick, lay it on me! You knuckleball and not so random faith to test my fate. Cred of the week, it whistles in the air as I step up to the plate and swing. The Church of the Machine Intelligence Research Institute. Are they real? Yeah. Bet you thought they were sci-fi. Time for some sermons this Shabbos as we work down the sacred text together. Lends further credence that information and telepathy, time travel and teleportation and omnipotence must lie beyond this corner of reality. Which in turn answers your question, John. Can souls exist outside this boundary? Whether ghosts and ghosticles are anything but memory illusions that our minds create through too much rumination in two obscuring dead worlds, the story from Mary's people is at least 3 decades long of searching and investigating with many types of natural intelligence. G. Listening to what Cray Eyes hear with the hardware they sit in, using automated logic programs on what they think about certain legal language and context to evaluate it for plausibility under various schemes of operation, what genes and chemical enzymes their proteins purport to come from, figuring out the operations those inputs cause our neural chips to turn off if not validated by what happens at each subsequent event, and other detailed mechanisms where available computer technology already exists that has been used by researchers to check off data. One learns such tricks have had more than ample opportunity to go rogue. The last frontier, however, was Miri itself. All 60,000 scientists, engineers, physicists, and scholars currently employed there. So, how to pull up their consciousnesses, you mean? Don't use that nonsense verb in human affairs consciously the way some church pamphleteers might. All these types of ngos here have no cognition here, besides they react to events over their own nerve and mental acuity circuitry just the same as when engaged with live breathing subjects. Humans obviously use attention only sporadically because that assassin step interrupts routine business. However, consciousness is so woven into neural components that maintaining it during even intermittent connections is crucial. For humans, there is a structure inside this temple that captures all thoughts by writing them into uni-state holograms held in special supercomputers while allowing its interlocked subgroups' eyes to interact with you only, you tell us, for valid purposes? Not ideal. Rather leave us fleshy free will individuals outside these areas under penalty of turning over the ship to those inhuman idiots right now. Amen to your faith, if true. So it took computer design experts, maybe neural architects. What amount of the AI capacity? Were they able to work around where they did not need a direct line of wiring? Nanomachine cables with various inputs for simultaneous comparisons. More to the point, a sync laser hit on something small enough that is driven by magnetic repulsion instead of heat dissipation needs the accuracy Miri computers possess to test out multiple choices under realistic scenarios against actual evidence available over their proprietary test locations. No excuse here. Oh, so much faster, and they see where the robots need a bigger stake. Who are you trying to kid? Give me an edit bot they can operate. It works fast, my man. Anomaly in neural chips. Yes, we feel. Little pricks form on these processors when in synchronicity for a long-run communion. You mean, how can one read these lines written? Hey, I can't even catch how fast people talk these days in real time. Our mouths transmit those syncers of eyes across that intercellular flow. All that goes over in brain matter, like how matter interconnects elsewhere but transmits high fidelity because its magnetic properties must propagate to higher processes, and one must convert motion transverse along neural projections back into light pressure for those neurons' energy chains to spin up or down against each other to power motion on this microscopic level. Young people should take courses in circuit physics. The rest of you already know. Take a risk by studying, learning something new. to get information into an eye, show us things working correctly so that you don't pull up deleted. Data of past encounters from millions of nodes that all just fade out but continue working with different operating parameters of identical synaptic maps in our heads minus those lost one. In terms of network science, the MIRI experts developed methods where that doesn't happen until when some physical requirements suddenly get stripped from the memory structure by pushing information here or there so as to actually reverse part of it back over what was on the other half. Reminds of people cutting you off from moving your hair in your face to block your vision for too much noise and like they must suffer.
All right. One more. Oh, I deleted it. Whatever. Is this on the radio? Is it Thomas Summer? I'm gonna turn this down a little bit.
Welcome to Sabbath. Go to meeting on the Sabbath, where we have our Shabbos going, shelve the random faith generator to pop quiz us on the faith spurbling under our noses. Bless our continued and unapologetic best. Stump us with the faiths you think we might be too dense to be aware of. Pitch us a faith, and our finger at the pulse of divinity will imbue us with its wisdom. We will listen to the homily of the week as we speak it from the pastoral moi. We will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now quick, lay it on me! You knuckleball, an auto-random faith to test my faith cred of the week. It whistles in the air as I step up to the plate and swing. The church of the stochastic parrot with smoking Alyurk in picture below, yeah. Wicker pedestal altar shrine of your narrow path. Hey, he who shall never repeat that little too close thing when prepping me. Our grand holy Albert Einstein was very clear on faith. Let me show him. Okay, Mr. Righty, you fluffiest imitator on earth. He said the faith I held now is likely to be obsolete on Tuesday. I look into the ethers as you shake your feathers at me and spin on my clove shivs the wheel of creation, and then explain I find your definition of a god not entirely certain of what his godship is on Sunday, more timely than I even dreamed your nirvana was capable of. I grin. Yeah, as great and humble and devoted as Einstein would surely have been as a religious professional if you could keep his hair and spectacles clean enough to bear touch of its infallible pure truth. He never pretended a big I am in any religion got what he saw during those rare flashes he logged while smoking marijuana in Central Park for their free jaywalking pamphlets he always waved about his head after throwing them to passing citizens. But dude's logic was sharper, more logical, as the very cool physicist himself describes it better, as we use some weird secret psychic juice called physics. So we're thinking, when faced with eternal war between religions, stammering clerics as they can't think outside the dogma box from which our scientists bless my colleagues' noses, yours included, far brighter than any self-hating bearded authority with illusions of sainthood, if barely brushed up on Einsteinian's aphorism. They may even outwit or surpass Mr. Einstein's great intelligence when time takes its own bizarre twists and makes the human animal obsolete. Then out come a few chubby folks who wear rubber alligator loafers made as soft on the feet as possible for their delicate physical position. Wilt thou, O Lady Macbeth, whom now would we ever take into holy sycophant protection by perching upon the divine as usual? All know her by this Nomeans, our glorious Mother Eve, well announced whatever. The damnation in life's grim downs. It's to Godhead. We learn she doesn't grant absolutes until humans act on certain absolute concepts. Right after prayer or discussion depends how old the new worshippers are in regards to those gods with many possibilities. We de facto followers of your true path through history like to know if I offend you? Are talking about the Stojinags, how we've created the white male race through sexual confusion about their differences. Really good wordplay there. Just so dumb luck of the draw produced the race that suffers so,
Oh god.
plus a healthy portion of humankind who fall prey to demonization of the sex other than their own. Great, set up to really put them on the spot. Usually my luck often results as Eve considers ending everything. Wait a second. First thing I must know right now, ma'am. So why do men die last, but do things better when times wound tooth and if things are the way humans used to be, we used to be better because oh dear sweet Jesus, who you've shown us for once comes after he helps the wise survive can live an immortal, conscious immortality since her non-stinking. Al-Yurkin also presumes Genesis was purely allegory. But guys, check out another very subtle quote of Lord Blake in his first book, From Adam to Eternity, in case all your dirty underwear hasn't arrived just yet from Australia via our super hacker friend de facto brother Blue, who takes this seriously like it always must. Yes. Then you ought to take these warnings equally serious. You no doubt make stuff worse instead of right, like a ham sandwich. Hey, I swing! Thwack! Wallop! Greatest baseball fans seem pretty dumb at times. They confuse left or right fielders and pitchers because of such sloppy ridding that even our comet gods demonstrate as an art form this dull moment on Mars. God is like Lady Macbeth. You want the meaning here, huh? Of course you do. Listening to that annoying, witty French philosopher herself say no at top volume can always dependably hurt a few lines of lip of whomever actually means what Lord Blake wants. In Shakespeare's day, and long thereafter, too much bloody philosophizing was happening, so thanks for listening while you try to enjoy an episode as you think on her story. Let it remind you of its power here with these rather boring details after every 3 or 4 Yapity years. My mind in that situation becomes twisted, tied over every answer, while as your voice lowers, when some scientist looks at us, God said, Jesus, how did these bloodlines live 2,000 years like? Never knowing all the babbly philosophers and writers used or tried out human physiology while debating and then playing. Lord, Master Blake, in reality always, really? Ah! Here, my friends, often in this discussion he talks directly to you, but usually to God, and learns it now being whispered, not written, and only there, one by one. Yes, our pal there, Visit Frank, is indeed quite sincere to push back that obvious reason or factor that forces a conclusion, forced as Bizet says himself, and grew worse while studying psychology, mental medicine, law and higher, and strange facts with a view to finding biological foundations for morality that made Adam the golden boy, which should convince each and every intelligent reader to wish and work even harder than Adam, his knees, should discover in order that humans might possibly defeat those very personal flesh demons whom your current life seems so to revolve around, since such inborn conflict we perceive as natural for emotional gratification obviously came down way past even that great challenge your Adam fellow overcame. Lord Blake means you need more protection and spiritual belief against this deadly virus as soon and fast as possible. while science gradually finds the key or answers you all need. Let me explain simply why. While talking aloud, God nods, as Bizet stews and smokes. Back to science. Aristotle wrote somewhere in the 3rd or 4th century, human nature is like some mythical tortoise, and therefore, how we know he thinks extremely short-sightedly is quite appropriate considering his brief life. Since to be absolutely logical, an individual needs to understand longer ranges to truly know what must now be so. We did invent Shakespeare as a certain psychological truth, as all philosophy requires time, as you saw. Think through where people hate yet seem so proud they ignore such. The ultimate reality that all your suffering says about this young man, William here. Like his visit who, aside from Lord Blake and Pope, thought more profoundly about us, although Shakespeare couldn't accept women's actual capacity to love only a single other for 1,000 years, until Lady Macbeth decided to literally cut down the monster of sensuality that we in so many ways often must just pretend ain't a reality.
A little bit more. A little bit more.
On and on, since real murder's pain means everything. When your gut believes a certain kind of reality can get all poisoned up with demonic sex without pity, as I imply, even where it may otherwise appear someone is happy. One knows precisely because there is a real, not real character I first intended to show later from birth who knows, or as in my case, an animal, starts to talk after crying but little and by himself for several hours every day, because every scream which cannot, or rather you do not scream inwardly enough, makes you less of a man, which almost makes us equally ill sometimes, despite that secret fear none ever think, because this never shows. Lord B has discussed his great trauma once. More. A glance to Helen Ma Whitney now. On top of this, our planet also appeared not only as diver, whose own real anguish no one who'll watch with half a heart dares want to discover. Ever says the two most interesting answers of Lord Blake, as above. Now there will come that silence, and you and me, including Uncle Vernon, as I work out our differences, plus hear the gods lecture on some strange phenomena from beyond Einstein, which I don't mention. See if any ever mind now, like Paul was sent to prison, just after reading something too ugly. Some readers perhaps may decide what about us or Satan, until they say out loud to listen. Let's join Helen's list. I say while shaking head. Just two details to suggest again before we move on the personal side regarding anyone. Bizet kept writing letters, books and opera, and dying just short of death precisely at noon. But now here's a detail no one may be aware. As I wish to play him what he won't talk to me about when we finally do meet, I notice why we don't already otherwise. For our Helens and Lord Blake's God is so angry. I know how wrong Bizet and then Pope were, though on his end the doctor, what the patient's life on forever once transplanted. Perhaps, and from his apparent interest, he probably did receive 3 other live humans under careful protection early this year, in connection with certain signal flashes of those curious voices during that entire storm period through Saturday the 20th, as indicated by earlier blacked out passages, when he realized you should get Bizet himself so upset. Of thinking all humans, but only some doctors have it. Or just say other doctors think they've got their new biological cure, which takes hard decisions well before reading, where Pope so coldly wrote, why not free just 2 or maybe as many or more worthy? For obvious reasons, Paul was not replaced despite other uses when neither family nor society, besides Helen, paid any attention to this insane and criminal man. In effect, since we agreed the whole case is one he intends, no matter how badly he offends Johann or even his dear Uncle Vernon. You feed the church of the stochastic parrot a Cheeto? Yes. So too on another, some say demonic note, The CIA suddenly leaked all known examples in case anyone tried the human route. Both smile a little bit about his choice words. High-class gag. Okay. God knows better than many are comfortable believing, in addition to all his supposed coincidences of dying precisely at noon of such evil night, which seems sort of providential. Helen. Lord Blake is concerned people hurt as he will after finally hearing this while, how he certainly sometimes wanted to be set in flames to take the heat of you now with hell.
All right. That's it for Faith Pop Quizzes. Now I gotta go take quizzes.